Welcome to this edition of the BRSN Insider. I'm sitting down with Benedictine men's soccer coach Miguel Rodrigues. Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
Not a problem.
Very disappointing into the season. You guys did not get into the NAIA tournament, but that doesn't take away from the great season you guys had. Finished 14-3-2. Talk about the season.
It was a great season. I think overall, our goal has always been the same sort of thing. One of our big points as a team is always progressing. We want to progress. We're always bought into the process and what we're trying to achieve as a team. I believe we're still in that process of progression. I think we're still progressing towards our ultimate goals, but at the current time, obviously, our goal is to win a conference tournament, win the regular season, win a national tournament, win a first-round game. I mean, you're always trying to make yourselves better, and I think we did. We have made ourselves better this year.
Does that not getting into the tournament provide extra motivation heading into next year?
Yes and no. No, because short of winning a national championship, everything else would have added motivation. But I think the key for us to sustain the long-term success of our program is just staying level-headed and not getting caught up in the winds of change one way or the other. Taking a loss too harsh or taking a win out of context. So we celebrate, we deal with the appropriate emotions. But I think when it comes to next year, our mindset is the same as it's always going to be. We're still going to try to achieve the goal, the ultimate goal.
You've talked about progressing. Is the program progressing at the rate you would like it to?
When I took over this job with my assistant coach, John Sosa, we didn't necessarily say we want to do this or this is what our goal is or this and that. We just wanted to kind of lay down the foundation for what hopefully we'll build on what the program had already done. So for that reason, I don't know I wouldn't know necessarily how to answer that question. We're making progress, and that's great. Is it what I thought? Well, I guess I didn't really go into it with any expectations specifically, so I'm grateful for where we are.
What does your guys' off-season look like?
As the team, for myself?
As the team.
Well, right now, the off-season looks like going to class and getting your schoolwork done. The season can be very hard on you mentally and emotionally, and I think just having these sort of days off to finish off the semester very strong is extremely important for us. But then once we kind of get back into it, our main goal is just to make the guys fall in love with soccer again. We want them to come back, and we want them to get better in every aspect of the game, technically, tactically, physically, and mentally. But really, overarching all of that is actually just the love for the game. We want the guys to just miss the ball and come back hungry for that again every time they get to see it.
What does your recruiting process look like?
It requires a lot of traveling. It requires a lot of emails, and it requires a lot of camps. So at this point in time, John Sosa, my assistant, and I are basically in the process of going through all the people who have reached out to us, kids who are interested, and really just figuring out if they fit what we're trying to do and what we're trying to be about. But that is everything. I want the best players. I think every coach wants to always bring in the best players possible. And with the soccer being the way it is and so many players, you really have to go through a lot of different players to figure out who will fit.
You talked about him, your assistant coach, John Sosa. What does having him as your assistant mean for this program?
Oh, it means everything. It means everything. Our success as a program is extremely tied into him and what he's done for us. He just brings a level of authority with the way he speaks about the game, as well as just the intensity that he has and passion that he has for this game. It's something that rubs off on me, and it rubs off on the guys, and you can see it in the way we play.
All right, Coach, thank you very, very much for joining us. Benedictine College men's soccer coach Miguel Rodrigues on the BRSN Insider.
Shakespeare once said, "Some are born great, and some have greatness thrust upon them. The rest of us," he said, "have to achieve greatness." We know exactly what he means. Be not afraid of greatness. Achieve it. Benedictine College. where greatness begins.
Back on the BRSN Insider, I'm sitting down with assistant volleyball coach Doug Tabbert. Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You guys finished 21-9 on the season. What are your thoughts overall on the season?
Well, I think we did a lot of good stuff, especially considering the last couple seasons the program's kind of struggled. So it was nice to take a pretty big step. Very happy for our players to be able to experience some success at a level that they haven't in a couple years. So it was nice.
You guys had four players selected to all-conference. Fleur Westlink was first team, and she was the attacker of the year. Talk about her a little bit.
Well, I think Fleur's numbers are really pretty special. Outside hitter, so she gets a lot of sets, but her kills per set numbers were much bigger than anyone else in the conference, so that's nice. But what's unique is you don't see an outside with a hitting percentage as that ranks as well in the conference as hers did. That's also getting a lot of swings. So to have that combination of high hitting percentage and kills per set, that's pretty unique, especially for an outside hitter. So she had a phenomenal year statistically.
And your other first teamer was Taylor Garner. Talk a little bit about what Taylor meant to the team.
Senior leader, very capable setter. The setter is kind of the quarterback of your team and has a lot of leadership responsibilities, and she handles that well. Kind of I think a stabilizing factor for us, and she does a good job of getting her hitter swings.
Then Sophie Thomas was second team. Freshman comes second team all conference. Talk about her.
Well, I don't think we really knew what we had in Sophie when she got here, and ends up being a pretty dominant attacker for us. For a good chunk of the season, was second in the conference in kills per set behind Fleur, and for a freshman to come in and do that, it's pretty nice. And she's got some growing to do in terms of other aspects of her game, but at times she's a very dominant attacker and really helped us a lot.
And then Abby Brown was the honorable mention.
Yeah, Abby's a quality player. Played libero for us this year. I mean, she's a very talented player. Very good ball control skills. Serves well. She's pretty complete and very competitive as well. So I think she was very solid for us.
And talk about what the off season looks like for the girls.
Yeah, we'll. Right now, it's a lot of downtime. We don't really do much until after the holiday break. And start the second semester. It's a little bit of, we've got some recruits coming on campus. We'll get a little bit of involvement with them, but other than that, we're not doing much. But once we start in the spring, we'll start 5 days a week of strength and conditioning work. We'll start some individual, small group kind of training. And then as we get a little deeper in the semester, we'll start team practice and some team tournaments in the spring.
And then what does your guys' recruiting process look like?
Recruiting is, it's all over the place as far as how you do it and when and where and that sort of thing. We signed 5 players this fall. We still are looking to add a few more from the 2018 class. So we continue to look and continue to bring some kids on campus and give them some looks here. But we'll really start looking at our 2019 class. Really, pretty much the next few weeks we'll really jump into 2019. And you get players so many different ways. You get coaches that'll send information for us. Hey, here's a kid you want to look at. We get contacted by a lot of prospective players. We go out and try to see tournaments, club tournaments, state tournaments, that sort of thing. So it's kind of across the board, really.
This is the first chance we've got to talk to you. Tell us about how you got to Benedictine.
Well, I think this is my 20th year of coaching, and a lot of those have been as a head coach at different places. But I was looking for something different, and I'm from this area, and I haven't been close to my family in over 20 years now. So when this position opened up, it was very attractive. It's kind of a change of pace for me professionally, but also a chance to get back in where I'm from, and it worked out well timing-wise, and I've enjoyed it.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for joining us. Assistant Volleyball Coach Doug Tabbert on the BRSN Insider.
A wise man once said, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." Discover what you were made for. Benedictine College, where greatness begins.
Back back on the BRSN Insider. I'm sitting down with men's basketball coach Ryan Moody. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dakota.
You guys started 4-1 on the season. Your thoughts on the season so far?
Yeah, I think it's been a good start. We lost our first one on the road to Harris-Stowe University on a tip-in at the buzzer by 1 point. Played well on defense, didn't shoot it very good down there, but it was a great environment and I think a good learning opportunity for us. We won a close game at home against John Brown, a good team, and I think we learned from that one as well. Then we had 2 games against Haskell in kind of a weird situation where we were supposed to play Haskell and St. Gregory's in a classic at Baker. And unfortunately, the St. Gregory's game didn't pan out, but we played Haskell on a Friday and then played them again at home on a Tuesday. And guys performed, played well on both ends. And, I think Haskell was a little beat up and tired. They had a lot of games in a short period of time, but we took care of business and were able to get out to that one. So it's been a good start. We're excited to keep playing. This group, most importantly, needs games, I think, for us to get used to playing with each other.
You guys lost that game with St. Gregory's. You rescheduled a couple games. Talk about the schedule changes.
Yeah, the St. Gregory's is an unfortunate deal. I really feel bad for all their students and faculty members and coaches. The institution decided to close effective at the end of this semester, and due to that, they suspended all athletic activities. So we lost a game. Fortunately, we were already kind of under our number of games that we were able to play in a year, which is 30. That would have given us 28. So we actually picked up a spot that St. Gregory's was filling in a classic down at the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma on the Thanksgiving weekend. It's the weekend after Thanksgiving. And so we're going to pick up a game against the University of the Southwest out of Hobbs, New Mexico. And we're going to pick up a game against LSU Alexandria. And LSU Alexandria is right now is number 2 in the country. So, get a chance at them on a neutral floor. I think it'll really show us where we're at. But more importantly, it's getting us games before the Heart of America Athletic Conference starts, and I think that this group just needs to play. So we did get the forfeit on the St. Greg's games, but in the end we did pick up 2 more games, and I think that's probably a blessing in disguise for us to play as much as possible.
You guys get Harris-Stowe again this next Monday. What did you learn from that first game that you can use going into this matchup?
Well, they come with a ton of pressure. They like to press the whole game. They are really aggressive in passing lanes and ball pressure and trap and ball screens. So I thought our guys handled it pretty good. We ended up turning it over 23 times, but the first game with a bunch of new faces and just guys in positions maybe that they haven't played, I thought we handled it okay. We defended well. So the number one thing is we have to handle their pressure. We've got to not turn it over 23 times. We've got to have more possessions in that game. And offensively, I think we're in a better place, and I hope that shows up on Monday. But first and foremost against Harris-Stowe is you have to handle their pressure. So it's a good thing we get another shot at them. We're excited for that. We're thankful that they wanted to go home with us and get us that game before Thanksgiving. So we're excited to get out there and play.
What has most impressed you about this team so far?
I've really been most impressed probably with 2 things. Number one, our unselfishness and the way we fit together. We added 3 transfers and 4 freshmen to the group. We decided to redshirt 3 of those freshmen, but essentially 4 new guys are playing brand new to the program. And then a bunch of guys are playing that hadn't played a whole lot last year. And Wills Walrap, Grant Lom, Colby Nichols. There's a bunch of guys that are getting minutes. Ricardo Aarons is playing. And so there's been a very pleasant chemistry. For lack of a better word, they've done a great job. We had 30 assists the other night against Haskell. We've been able to defend pretty good as a unit. But more importantly, I think, is that chemistry, that unselfishness. That's really impressed me. We've been led by scoring, I think, in all 3 games we've actually played by a different guy and had lots of guys in double figures. So I'm very impressed with that. To your other point, what do we need to get better at? Defense. I think that's our number one thing. I don't think we're where we need to be. We've held people down a little bit, as far as total number of points, but we haven't shown the grit yet that we need to, I think, when we get into the Heart of America Athletic Conference. I like our guys. It's not a lack of effort. I think it's a lack of playing and, getting simulated into our system and just over and over and over. I think practice helps that, but games really helps that. So we've got to get better.
What have you seen from the depth of the conference this year, this early on in the season?
Well, I haven't paid attention too much. I've noticed a few games. That there's quite a few 5-0s, 4-0s. I don't know who everybody's playing. I think that a few people have played a few decent opponents. Hope International made a trip, who's ranked number 10 in the country, to the Midwest and played Graceland and won in a close game, and the next day got beat by Mid-America. William Penn's 5-0. I think they'd be the first ones to tell you they really haven't played anybody yet. So, I don't know. I mean, I think, it's so early and schedules are so diverse on how you get games and where you're going. We're 2 weeks away from opening at Mid-America Nazarene, so we're just going to kind of take them one at a time and one day at a time and get ready for that one.
How important has that non-conference schedule been in helping you guys getting ready for conference
Well,
play?
we hope. I mean, when it's all said and done, we've got these 3 next games that get us ready, and they're all against NAI Division I opponents. So I think that's going to help us. We come back 0-3. I might have a different take on it, but I think that this is good preparation for our league. Just making sure that this group plays against quality competition as much as possible. Our schedule's a little different in November. We moved 3 non-conference games to December. We're going to Phoenix and playing 2 really good teams in Menlo College and who's our Rocky Mountain University, and those are 2 very good teams. And then we've moved Park to December 30th, who we typically play in November. So we've still got a couple of really good opponents outside of league to play. But I think what we've done so far gets us ready.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Dakota.
Benedictine College men's basketball coach Ryan Moody on the BRSN Insider.
A wise man once said, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." Discover what you were made for. Benedictine College, where greatness begins.
Welcome back to the BRSN Insider. Assistant Athletic Director Josh Pound. Glad to have you with us as we take a look at one last thing here this week on this edition. As you may know, on Saturday, Benedictine football travels to Fort Wayne, Indiana to take on top-ranked and defending NAI national champion St. Francis University University of St. Francis, the Cougars, in the first round of the NAI Football Championship Series on Sunday. I had an opportunity to pull Coach Wilcox aside and get his thoughts on the pairings and then what all goes into planning for a trip to the Football Championship Series. So we'd like to go ahead and bring that to you right now. Thank you for watching this edition of the BRSN Insider. Congratulations on getting that next bid. And before even talking about the bid, congratulations on another conference championship you guys were able to wrap up yesterday.
Well, it was an exciting win yesterday at Peru State for our guys, a very significant win on the road to finish 6-0 as a road team. So that's a great statistic there, and to win in the style that we did. And then to get a little bit of surprise news afterwards with William Penn beating Grandview, which moved us into a tie for the conference championship.
And then the icing on the cake, obviously, is an at-large berth into this year's football championship series. Just talk about what that means for the program.
Well, I think this team has earned that right to participate in the national playoffs. They played extremely well on the year. We have the 2 losses, but by a total of 10 points to 2 very highly ranked teams and quality programs. So we feel like we're at par with the teams that are going to be participating in the playoffs, and to get number 1 right out the gate. Hey, someone told me just a minute ago, let's start at the top and work our way down.
So, what do you know about St. Francis? I mean, obviously not a team that you probably watch too much or follow too much throughout the season, but another historic, or not a historic program, but another traditionally strong program like yourselves.
Well, they're the defending national champions, having beaten Baker University last year in the championship game. So Coach Donnelly has several national championships and has an outstanding program there ever since he's gone to St. Francis. They built a program, and the schools really has backed what they've tried to do. And as a consequence, they have a great team year in and year out, and it'll be an honor for us to travel there and get the experience of playing them.
The last time Benedictine qualifies for the playoffs, you were able to get a home game. Didn't work out this year. How are the logistics different of planning for a home playoff game versus planning for a road playoff game?
Well, first of all, there'll be a 20-hour bus ride to and from as compared to walking out the back door here
Right.
and playing the game. So that's number 1. There's just the stress and strain of a long trip of that nature on the players, and then getting off a bus and playing a team as good as them. But that's something we have to handle, and that's something we've talked about since the start of the year. And so I think these guys will be able to manage that and take it in their stride and still play some great football.
And obviously, the staff has been through that experience when you traveled down to Georgetown a few years ago for the playoff experience or the playoff trip that year. Is it similar kind of a trip that you're expecting to go up to St. Francis?
Yeah, it'll be a similar trip. It'll probably be a 2-day trip. We'll probably travel the first day the majority of the way, spend the night, and then finish the trip off on Friday.
Well, congratulations, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.